Kia ora, Class 1. Welcome to your second story for the term. I hope that you enjoy it. Come along for the journey. The Music on the Mountain. There once was a little girl called Molly who lived in a 2-story house on a little hill with her auntie and her 2 cats. One cat was called Willow and the other Pretzel. Willow loved climbing trees, and when she was all tired out, she loved to curl up into a fluffy, tiny ball and purr peacefully. Pretzel liked to play and pounce and chase shadows. This always made Molly laugh. The 2 cats were Molly's closest friends. Their house was part of a small village that sat at the foot of a huge mountain. The mountain had 2 pointy peaks that reached far up into the sky, so far, in fact, that they disappeared from view altogether. This mountain was called Mount Mist. Mount Mist got its name because it was always covered in a mysterious mist that never seemed to shift, no matter what winds were blowing. It didn't even shift in the biggest of storms. The mountain had been like this for as long as anyone in the village could remember. The mist grew so thick towards the mountain's top that the 2 peaks were hidden from view completely. Molly had the best view of the mountain in the house because her bedroom was at the top of the stairs on the 2nd story. She often stared up at the mountain from her bedroom window, wondering what might be at the top of the 2 peaks. Mount Mist was no ordinary mountain. At the bottom lay an entrance to a cave, and inside the cave, in the heart of the mountain, precious gemstones were embedded in the rock. Slowly, over hundreds of years, people in the village had dug deeper and deeper into the mountain. Over time, the entrance to the cave had grown bigger and bigger and bigger. The village itself was surrounded by unfathomable beauty. There were lush green forests, teeming with birds and animals, full of trees with thick trunks and sturdy branches ideal for climbing. There were fields spotted with many colourful wildflowers that swayed gently with the wind, like little fairies dancing amongst the grass. But perhaps the most beautiful thing of all was the river. It flowed down from somewhere at the top of Mount Mist, cutting right through the village and disappearing into the depths of the forest. Its water was as clear and pure as crystal, and it seemed to sparkle brightly even when there was no sunlight. But none of this beauty mattered to anyone in the village, because they couldn't see it anyway. They were all far too busy to notice such things. Every morning the people would wake and quickly go to sit at their tables. They were in a hurry to count the precious gems they had collected from deep inside the mountain. It didn't matter that they had counted them the day before, or the day before that, or the one before that. All day long the village people sat counting and admiring their precious gems. They talked about their gems, or they went out to mine for more gems. "Oh, this is nonsense," Molly cried one day. "I'm so bored. I just want someone to play with." Pretzel and Willow looked up at her from their warm sleeping place beside the sunlit window. "No one wants to play," she said. "They only care about their gems. They're silly gems anyway. What good are they? You can't even eat them. You can't even make anything with them." Willow purred, and Pretzel meowed in agreement. Molly smiled. "Well, At least I have you two. Come on, she yelled, jumping up. Let's go play outside. We can make the most of how beautiful everything outside is, even if no one else seems to. Together, the three of them left the house and wandered down the street, past their neighbours, Betty and Arnold, who were stooped over their outside table, counting their gems. Hi, Molly called. Hi, Molly, they both replied, without even looking up. Their backs were bent over from age and from leaning over their table for far too long each day. Down the street the three continued, toward the forest. They passed shops selling tools meant for digging gems out of the mountain, bookshops selling books about gems and how to get them, cafes full of tables with people sitting down, counting their gems and talking about their gems. How boring, Molly muttered. They followed the path of the sparkling river toward the forest. It was cool and calm inside the forest. Beautiful bird song echoed through the branches, and the tree trunks creaked and groaned as if they were actually wooden giants trying to talk. Molly's favourite place to play was a spot beside the river, where the water gathered and created a little pool. When it was hot enough, she would swim in the pool. Other times she played in a small hut she had made out of fallen branches and leaves. Upon arriving to the little pool, Willow let out a loud meow and leapt straight at Pretzel, chasing her around and around the base of a tree. Both of the cats ended up rolling around, play fighting in a pile of leaves. Molly giggled. While the cats played in the leaves and climbed trees, Molly decided to make a table, like the ones the people in the village used to count their gems. But mine will be a picnic table, she announced to herself. She found big stones to use for the table's legs. And for the tabletop, she found a flat plank of wood that looked like it had drifted down the river during high rainfall. She covered the top with autumn-coloured leaves. Sunset reds and yellows, golden, earthy browns, and bright orange. She stood back and admired her work. Hey, you two, she called to Willow and Pretzel, who were now clawing their way up the trunk of a tree. Look what I made. Do you like it? Willow leapt from the tree trunk onto the tabletop and flicked her tail. Pretzel meowed with approval. Molly smiled. We can use this as our picnic table, she announced proudly. Just as the words left her mouth, she froze. A faint sound whispered through the forest. It sounded like music. Someone, somewhere, was playing the flute. She followed the sound, step by step, and with each step she took, the music grew louder. It grew and grew and grew, until at last up ahead she saw a big tree, perhaps the biggest tree in the forest. It must be coming from behind there, she thought. However, when she rounded the tree, she saw that no one was there. It was only herself, Willow, Pretzel, and the river. She knelt down beside the riverbed and listened. "Oh, the river!" she yelled. "The music is coming from inside the river." Ooh, Class 1. I wonder why there was music coming from the river. You will have to wait to find out. Let's go and do our next alphabet activity. Come and check it out.